A $5 billion cartel fortress, hidden just miles from the U.S. border, was considered untouchable, a private military base disguised as paradise. But when Navy SEALs launched a covert nighttime assault, the operation detonated into an all-out war that no one saw coming. Inside this fortress were weapons, tunnels, foreign advisors, and secrets powerful enough to shift regional control. And the moment the SEALs breached the perimeter, everything changed. This is the story of how America's most elite warriors took on a fortress built to stop armies, and what they uncovered inside that stunned military intelligence. Now, the question is, how do you even begin to crack a fortress built in the shadows?
From the sky, it looked like nothing more than a luxury ranch. Perfect landscaping, private villas, even a fake horse stable to sell the illusion. But at 2100 hours, ISR drones hovering at 20,000 feet exposed the truth. This wasn't a ranch. It was a cartel fortress engineered like a military base. Thermal imaging revealed underground tunnels stretching for hundreds of meters, hidden bunkers, and multiple helipads tucked behind false structures. The most alarming discovery? Anti-air systems, surface-to-air launchers placed with precision. This wasn't just defensive, it was strategic. Every guard on the perimeter rotated in 4-minute intervals, never lingering long enough to be patterned, never leaving blind spots. Zero gaps, zero laziness, zero mercy. Whoever designed security had military training. At 2300 hours, Command made the call. This fortress would grow beyond control within days. It had to be taken down now, before it expanded operations or went dark forever. Inside the JSOC planning room, the decision was made. Not a drone strike, not local forces. A full covert insertion by a Dev-GRU platoon supported by an ISR drone team and stealth-modified Blackhawks cruising at 150 knots. As the sun disappeared behind the desert horizon, the entire region went pitch black. Power to nearby grids cut. Every light in the compound snuffed out. Nightfall wasn't darkness, it was a signal. The SEALs were already in motion. How do you infiltrate a fortress designed to stop armies?
At 01:15 hours, 2 Blackhawks eased over the ridge, staying below radar and out of predictable flight corridors. SEAL teams fast-roped into a dry riverbed, boots hitting dust in near silence while rotors climbed away into the black. The insertion was surgical. DEV-GRU assault squads supported by an Overwatch sniper team and a ground drone feeding live video. They hugged the riverbed to avoid motion sensors and patrol routes mapped by the ISR drone. One wrong step would trigger a 90-second camera loop, then every eye on the compound would snap to life. In the gloom, a lone cartel patrol cut across their path. A laser Overwatch painted the target, a single suppressed round from an MK-13 sniper ended the threat without a sound. No alarm. Not yet. Hackers in the support van took control of the camera network, freezing feeds for a narrow window, 90 seconds, long enough to move. SEALs moved like shadows, weapons held low, M4A1 suppressed, breaching kits and compact drones at the ready. At the maintenance wall, they planted silent breach charges. The charge bit into reinforced stucco, a whisper of metal and dust, and a maintenance door swung inward onto a maintenance tunnel. 200 meters of concrete and hush leading straight beneath the compound. The team stacked into the dark, helmets barely making a silhouette on thermal cams. They slipped into the tunnel with minutes to spare. The outside world was still blind. What waits at the end of the tunnel? Halfway through the tunnel, everything changed. A faint click echoed through the concrete, a pressure sensor no one knew existed. 01:40 hours. A silent alert rippled through the compound's network, and then the night exploded. Massive spotlights snapped on, slicing through the darkness like search lasers. Sirens howled across the fortress. Observation towers powered up instantly, rotating heavy-caliber guns toward the breach point. The SEALs had seconds to react. Cartel guards unleashed automatic fire, rounds tearing against the tunnel mouth. The SEAL commander split the platoon. One team to hold the line, laying down suppressive fire with M4A1 carbines and M240 machine guns, while the second team pushed deeper into the compound to reach their objective. The walls shook as RPGs slammed into the perimeter. From the south perimeter, armored SUVs barreled forward at 40 miles per hour, mounted with machine guns and shields. The fortress wasn't panicking, it was responding like a military base. Overwatch snipers targeted tower gunners, dropping them before they could zero in. But the enemy multiplied. More gunmen surged from barracks. This wasn't a scramble. It was organized defense. Comms crackled. "We need air support." AH-64 Apaches inbound. ETA 6 minutes. 6 minutes under heavy fire felt like a lifetime. Cartel spotlights lit up the courtyard like daylight, erasing every shadow the SEALs depended on. Bullets sparked off steel, grenades thumped against walls. Every second, the enemy pushed harder. The SEALs dug in, trapped between a sealed tunnel and a fortress now fully awake. Can they survive until backup arrives?
With the courtyard turning into a kill zone, the SEALs made a ruthless decision: push forward or die standing still. Under a wall of suppressive fire, they charged the main structure, a reinforced command building at the center of the compound. Breaching charges blew the doors inward, and the team stormed inside, clearing rooms with lethal precision. Inside, the chaos vanished. The halls were quiet, sterile, too clean. This wasn't a drug den. It felt like a military research facility. Server racks lined the walls, humming with encrypted data. Tactical maps displayed trade routes across continents. Someone had been planning on a global scale. Then they found it. A massive steel blast door, 6 inches thick. Not a vault, a bunker. Halligan tools and C4 charges went to work. At 02:05 hours, the door cracked open with a thunderous echo. The air inside was cold, artificial. Artificial lighting stretched into a chamber far larger than any intel reports suggested. A fully operational lab, chemical processing stations, weapons prototypes, communications gear with foreign language interfaces. This wasn't just drugs, it was command and control. Even worse, files showed foreign brokers partnering with the cartel, trading technology, weapons, and intelligence. They weren't just financing crime, they were building a strategic foothold on U.S. soil. The intel team rushed in, securing encrypted drives, hard copies, and cache vaults stacked with millions. At 02:15 hours, they radioed command. "You need to see this. It's bigger than narcotics." And somewhere in the darkness below, more doors waited to be opened. What if the fortress isn't just a drug hub, but a strategic threat? The discovery changed everything. This wasn't just a raid anymore. It was a geopolitical bomb. The order came fast: secure the intel and get out, now. But the cartel was ready to bury them inside. At 02:40 hours, seismic tremor shook the compound as cartel reinforcements poured in from hidden access roads, hitting the fortress with technical trucks mounted with .5 cals and portable mortars with a 1.5-kilometer range. The entire desert lit up with muzzle flashes and explosions. SEALs set C4 charges along the tunnel network, determined to collapse the underground systems so the fortress could never be reused. As they moved toward the landing zone, Apaches roared in overhead at 180 knots, spitting Hellfire missiles into enemy trucks and ripping apart mortar teams with 30mm cannons. The battlefield turned into fire and thunder, but the cartel didn't break. They adapted. From the North Ridge, a last wave of fighters launched an ambush on the LZ, trying to pin the SEALs before extraction. Tracers ripped across the sand. The sky pulsed red. The air shook with RPGs. Chinooks dropped in hot, rotors kicking up dust storms as 134 miniguns unleashed streams of lead. SEALs dragged casualties aboard, while others laid down walls of fire. One squad nearly got cut off, but a final Apache strike cleared the ridge with seconds to spare. 02:55 hours. Final contact.
The explosives detonated, collapsing tunnels and burying the fortress from within. The Chinooks lifted off under fire, engines screaming, dust swirling beneath them. Below, the $5 billion fortress burned, along with everything it was hiding. They'd survived, but at what cost? Do they all make it out alive? The raid didn't just dismantle a cartel base, it shattered a covert empire. Hidden beneath a desert ranch was a strategic command center, foreign alliances, weapons development, and plans that reached far beyond the border. By seizing that intel, the SEALs exposed a network that could have sparked regional instability or worse. The fortress is gone, but the message it sent still echoes. If one cartel can build a private military fortress like this, how many more are quietly preparing for war? Subscribe for more real military operations where elite tactics, split-second decisions, and sheer willpower decide who makes it home. Speed, precision, consequences.